Okay, so today we are moving on to section 1.2, order of operations. Now there's a couple different sayings out there. I'm going to guess the saying you guys have heard the most is please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Is that right? Okay, is there any other one you guys have heard? No? Just going with that one? Okay, that's what we'll go with. So let's start at the beginning. The please, of course, represents what? Parentheses, right? So we have to do our parentheses first. Excuse is for what? What does the E represent? Lola? Exponents, very good. Then, my dear, go together. What does that mean? Yeah, but what's special about it? Logan, do you know what's special about multiply and divide? What is it, Ethan? You go left to right, exactly. So we need to go from left to right, okay? That's a really important part. And then, of course, Aunt Sally goes together. And Aunt Sally represents adding and subtracting, exactly. And how do we do those? Very good. All right. So I know you guys have done these many times, so let's just revisit a couple things. We're jumping into example number 1. Example number 1, how about this problem? Let's say we have 3 squared plus 2 times 4 minus 5. So I put a few different things up there. Now, yesterday in your homework there wasn't any work to show me, right? Today there's going to be, right? So I want to see your work on your homework, just so that if for some reason there's any question, I'm not sure how you got there, when I look at your work, I'll know exactly what's going on. All right? So, please means we have to do parentheses first. In your work, once you write down that problem, in this case, if we do parentheses first, 4 minus 5 is what? Negative 1. So I'm going to cross that out. I can put a negative 1 right above it. Are you guys okay if I do the work that way? Okay. What comes next? The exponent. So in the beginning here, 3 squared represents 3 times 3, or what? So I have 9 plus 2 times negative 1. In order of operations, what comes next? We already did the parentheses. Multiplication. Very good. So we're going to do this 2 times negative 1 next. So I have 9. What is 2 times negative 1? Negative 2. So I can either write it this way, or I could write it as 9 plus a negative 2. Which way do you guys prefer better? 9 plus the negative 2 you guys like better? Okay, then that's how I'll write it. All right? So let me fix that up here. All right. 9 plus negative 2. And 9 plus negative 2 equals 7. Very good. All right. Yeah. No. That is not what, that's the distributive property. Okay? And we only do the distributive property when there's a variable involved. Do you see a variable up here? No. Okay? So that's what I want you to think about. All right, let's try another example. Let's do this one. How about 3 minus 4 times 5 minus 3 divided by 2. All right. Hunter, go ahead. What's first? 5 minus 3. This is in parentheses, right? So once I write my problem down, the parenthesis part, I can cross that out. And what is 5 minus 3? 2. So that does show me work, right? It shows me what you're thinking and what you're doing. Now, in the next step, we did our parentheses. Are there any exponents? so now we go to multiplication and division left to right. The first multiplication we come to, 4 times 2. Very good. So our 3 stays, our minus stays. 4 times 2 is what? Good. And then I still have divided by 2. Now what? Good. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So I have 3 minus 4. And I get an answer of? Negative 1. Okay. All right. So I think you guys, I don't think we have to go through a whole lot of examples like that. You okay if I step it up a little? All right. So we have a special case. Special case. The special case is when your expression is in fraction form. Okay? So for example, if I had something like 3 minus 2 squared over 5 times 3. Okay? So, anytime it's in fraction form, what we're going to do is first simplify the top. Then we're going to simplify the bottom. And then we divide last. Okay? The reason is, and it's a special case, because what this is actually saying to us is when it's all on the top together, it's saying that it's already grouped on the top. So it's like there's imaginary parentheses there. Okay? And it's saying the bottom is already grouped together. All right? So although they didn't write it with parentheses, because it's written on the top and the bottom, that's what that means. All right, so let's go ahead and do this one together. First, we're going to simplify the top. On the top alone, I have 3 minus 2 squared. Somebody help me out. What do I have to do first? Hunter, go ahead. What do I do first? 2 times 2. Right, this 2 squared right there. And that gives me 3 minus what? 4. And 3 minus 4 is? Good, negative 1. So the top became negative 1. There we go. All right, now we're going to simplify the bottom, or the denominator. 5 times 3 is what? 15. Now it says divide last. Well, in this case, what happens if I try and divide these? Yeah, we're going to get an ugly decimal. So we can actually just leave this, okay? If you can divide it and divide it so it comes out as a whole number, awesome sauce. If not, leave it as your fraction, just in those terms. Okay? All right, so let's do example 3. Let's do one similar to this. How about 2 times 7 plus 4 over 9 plus 3. All right. I'm asking you to simplify this. It's order of operations, but because it's in fraction form, we're going to simplify the top, simplify the bottom, and divide last. So on the top, what do we do first? Yeah, that's a multiplication right in there. Yes. Good. So 14 plus 4, and that's going to give us what? Good. 18. All right. Now, what do we do next? Hunter, go ahead. All right. And then, of course, we simplify or divide last. What goes into both of those? All right. So what are we going to get? 2 over 3? There we go. 3 over 2. Perfect. And if you happen to change it to a decimal because it's a decimal that stops, I'm okay with that too. All right? Questions at all? Would we like another example of this? Nah, we're good? Okay, you guys got to be honest with me if you've got this, and I'll move on. All right, moving on then. So we use order of operations. We're simplifying expressions, but we also use it when we're evaluating. So let's talk about evaluating expressions. All right, when we evaluate an expression, okay, the first thing you want to do is simplify the expression if you can. Okay, so first we want to simplify it. 2, you're going to substitute or plug in the values for the variables. Now, when you plug a value in for a variable, there's a very, very important key. Okay? You must, I'm going to even put this in capital, use parentheses. Okay? So anytime you replace a variable, you use parentheses and put the value in. All right, and then 3, we're going to simplify. All right. So here is example. What am I on, 4? All right. So let's say I have negative x plus 3y. All right, and I'm going to tell you that x equals negative 2 and y equals 4. All right, so step 1, you try and simplify the expression if you can. Can we simplify this expression at all? Okay, perfect. So then we're going to plug the values in. And when we plug the value in, you have to use parentheses. So I have a negative, and where x is, I'm going to put my parenthesis, and negative 2 replaces that x. Plus 3. And then I have a y, and where the y is, I'm going to put parentheses, and what value is y? 4. Okay? This is a really important step. Without parentheses, this could be something totally different. So, looking at this, order of operations says we do parentheses. Well, is there anything going on in a parenthesis? Okay, then we do exponents. Is there any exponents? So now we do multiplication and division from left to right. What actually is the first multiplication going on? Perfect, exactly. So this negative that's in front, Orion's right. This is actually a negative 1 out front. This is negative 1 times negative 2, which is positive 2. Plus 3 times 4. Now we can do our multiplication. 3 times 4, which is 12. And then we add and we get 14. Okay? Good job. Good job, good job. Let's try another one. Example number 5. All right, let's say we have a squared minus 2ab, where a equals negative 2 and b equals 3. All right, so again, in this expression, can we simplify it all? No. Okay, so now we're going to plug in our values, right? So where this a is, I'm going to put a parenthesis and put a negative 2 squared. Minus 2, where this a is, I'm going to put parentheses and put negative 2. And where the b is, I'm going to put parentheses and put 3. Right? And all those parentheses next to each other mean that we're multiplying, right? Okay. So order of operations, what are we going to start with? Well, there's nothing going on in the parentheses, so we're going to go exponents, right? And the only exponent we have is this 2. So in this first spot, we have a negative 2 squared, which is negative 2 times negative 2, Emma, is positive 4. Very good. So I have 4 minus 2 times negative 2 times 3. All right, what's next? Colin, what's next? Okay, so you want to multiply these two together? So I have 4 plus, what's negative 2 times negative 2? Good. I still have it times 3, right? So now we're going to do our 4 times 3, which is 12, and then we get 4 plus 12 is 16. Very good. Okay? So, if you did not put these in parentheses, remember we talked the very first day of school, we talked about how, let me move this down for a second, negative 2 squared without parentheses and negative 2 squared in parentheses are two totally different answers, right? You just told me negative 2 in parentheses times negative 2 is positive 4. What's this one? Negative 4. Very good. Okay? So, those parentheses are really important. If you forget them, it can totally change your answer. All right? Do we have any questions? You guys want to try this? You want to use the next 15 minutes or so? Yes? All right. Sounds great. Go ahead and open your book. Or, again, I did post those pages in your Google Classroom. Again, I want to remind you it's multiples of 4. So if you want to make sure you get the problems right, you can always put your multiples of 4 across the top to help you. You're doing 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, and so on. Okay? To 80. All right, let me know if you have any questions. Nice job today.